Good morning, my friends. Welcome back to my channel. It's Belinda here from Visualized NZ. I am going to work today on my design team project for creating with Jovi, and all the details for her Etsy and YouTube channel will be down below in the description box. This kit that I'm working with is called Mouse Travels. I accidentally called it the wrong thing in the last video I did, but I corrected it in the description box. So Mouse Travels, and it's this super cute kit featuring mice and travel related imagery, and it's just so pretty. It's really gorgeous, and I'm going to work on the cover today. I had thought I would do 2 signatures for this journal, but just because of my situation, I am now in a moon boot. I went into a moon boot yesterday, so I can stand on my foot very gingerly and with crutches. So I still cannot get to the things that I need to do a 2 signature cover. They're in a room where I can't get with a wheelchair, and I could get with crutches, but then I can't carry anything if I go with crutches. So I'm still kind of stuck in that regard. So I've changed my mind. I'm going to do a 1 signature journal. It's going to be a chunky little fellow, and I'm going to do a file folder as the base. So just clear the decks here for a moment, because I do need to trim this file folder down. And so we need to take a bit off the top and the sides. So I'm just going to mark it with pencil. I think about there, that way, and probably about there, that way. Okay. I was going to do that one first, but then I'll chop off my mark I just made. So let's do it this way first. Just turning my mat around so I can see my lines and have room to chop it. Just making sure it's lined up right, and hopefully nothing moves on me while I do this. My ruler is barely long enough, but that's okay. We will get this done. Hold it nice and firm, and it's probably going to take a couple of passes to get through this light cardstock. Yep, maybe even more than 2. Oops. I can feel in some spots where it's gone through. There we go. That's that one. So I've got things under my mats to keep them flat, and so when I swivel the mat round, they move on me as well, but not entirely, so they show through a bit. Right, so now I am going to fold it in half, and this is going to take even more to get through because I've now got 4 layers. Call me crazy, but I'm going to go for it. Just really important when you're doing multiple layers and you're cutting with a knife like this, is that you just do multiple passes rather than trying to cut through it all at once, because if you put too much pressure, you could snap your knife, it could slip and just slice you open, which would not be a good thing. So just repetitive cuts, you know, put some pressure, but don't try and cut through the whole lot all at once, because you will at best strain yourself, at worst cut yourself, and we don't want any of those things. We just want to take it nice and gently and just do several passes, working through whatever thickness you've got until it comes away. Just get that bit out of the way, just a little bit at the top, and I generally find it's the bits at the top and the bottom that don't cut through entirely the first few times, or however thick it is, however many times it takes. And I think it's because there's less pressure. Like, you kind of start off and then you dig a bit deeper, and then you kind of lift off towards the end towards you. So I always find it's the top and bottom tend to need a little extra. Okay, so we have our lovely base here now. Just going to double check I did the right size. Yep, looking good to me. Okay, so I want to glue these two together. What glue am I going to use? I think I might use alcohol glue, just for speed at this point. And I know it holds really well once I get it out of the bottle. Haven't been using it much because I've been not at my craft desk very much. Is that actually dried up in the nozzle? Please don't be dried up in the nozzle. Otherwise I'm going to have to change my mind. Oh, here we go. Here we go. It's coming. Just needs a bit of oomph. And it's a clear glue, so it's going to be hard to see. And I'm sorry if this is not all in frame. I don't think it is, because it's just a little bit large at this stage to fit on within the frame of the camera. But you'll see a good amount. I'm just putting glue on, that's all I'm doing. And I'm not being too picky because it's all going to be covered anyway on the outside, and that will hold it together. But I don't want it moving while I'm covering it. So, and this glue dries really clear. Oops, I'm just going to get that bit off the, if I've got a gap here, yep, here, I'm just going to get that bit off the nozzle there. I might as well not waste it. Use it. Sorry for reaching under the camera, I just wanted to get that out my way because I've finished with that now. So I hope you're all having a good day, my friends. I am recording this Wednesday. You will see it Thursday. Well, I can't guarantee you'll see it Thursday, but it will go up on Thursday, so tomorrow. Thursday for those of us on a Thursday, and a Wednesday evening, I think, for those like in the US. Time's a funny thing, isn't it? Right, now I'm hoping this doesn't do any weird buckling on me. So far so good. Always a bit of a worry, isn't it, when things do weird things. Right, so I'm going to turn it this way, so this is the outside of the cover. And I've chosen to cover it with wallpaper. I haven't done a wallpaper journal for, like, it feels like forever. So I've chosen out this lovely, beautiful textured wallpaper, and it's got, I don't know if you can tell, it's got some glitter in it, which is really pretty. So it's got just that little bit of bling, and it's got some more shiny sort of accents in this swirl design. So I chose one that didn't necessarily have a direction, because technically it's supposed to go this way, but I needed the width, so I needed something that would work this way, and I feel like this pattern doesn't say to me there's an up or a down, so I'm going to go with that. And I thought the colour is just a really nice natural colour to work with the colours in this kit. I will mention too, I've popped in a few pages in the signature as well as the digitals. So there's 14, I think 14 digital pages, so I didn't need a lot. So I've just popped in a few bits of my eco-dyed paper. So it's not a digital paper, this is the actual eco-dyed paper. So there's this pink and brown one, which I thought tied in lovely with this pink print here. And then there's one more. So I've only added 3 additional pages, all eco-dyed. Where are you? Here, this one. This one needs a bit of TLC. It's a little torn on this edge, and it's got a brand name here, which we don't want, so we'll decorate that up. Excuse me. And then on the other side here, I've just folded a little bit over and glued it. I'm going to turn this into a pocket, a side pocket, and then again we've got some more branding over here. So if I glue that down into a pocket, that takes care of that one, and then we'll just find something to put along here to hold that together so it doesn't tear, and cover this brand. So that's the plan with those. So I thought you know, that works quite nicely, I feel. So this is what I'm going to use. And so I'm going to turn it over. I'm not worried about what part of the pattern I get. I just want to make sure that I've got a good inch and a half all the way around to work with. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to take my gel medium. This happens to be a heavy gloss one, which is not my preference, but it was given to me, so I'm going to use it. And it will absolutely do the trick. It's a heavy one, so it's actually, you know, good for gluing. Any medium is good for gluing actually, but this one is particularly because it's designed for heavier things. So I'm just going to spread it all out. Whoops. Hopefully I can get it done before it starts drying on me. Always a bit tricky that when I'm working in a room with a fire going. It's awesome as a glue. If you haven't tried a gel medium, I do recommend matte. I find it's more usable for more things than a gloss. I thoroughly recommend it. It's, I'd say, not on the cheaper side, depending what brand you get, but it goes a long way. So I do recommend it. I think my pot of matte medium that I had, it lasted me probably a good 4 years, and every cover I made it with the medium. So whether I was doing fabric or wallpaper, it's great with fabric, doesn't show through, it's awesome. It's by far my preferred glue when working with fabric, but I tend to forget about it and just reach for my alcohol based glue, which is my second favourite for gluing fabric. Right, not doing too bad on the drying aspect, so that's good. And I'm not being stingy with it, you know, I don't want big patches of it, but I'm not, you know, I want good coverage. And I might have to go around the edges a little bit to see if any of it's dried. And now I'm going to flip it over and plop it on. That's looking good. And press. So I've got a little bit on the inside, which is absolutely fine because I'm going to be wrapping it around to the inside. Now something I didn't do was grab out a paper to cover the inside. So hopefully I've got one beside me that will work, that will match with this kit. Okay, I'm getting all sorts of sticky here. It's okay. Right, now I'm going to trim, and I'm just going to cut because it's not essential that it's straight. So I'm just going to trim out around my cover, leaving that border that we can wrap around to the inside. And it also, because we're using wallpaper, and this is quite a thick wallpaper, it really helps make the cover nice and sturdy as well. Right, on the corners, I'm just trying to make sure I'm on camera for this, so just adjust things here. So I'm going to cut towards the corner on an angle, just a little bit, a few millimeters out from the corner, not going right to the corner. And then I'm coming the other side and doing an angle to that same point. And for some reason that seems to work better than just going straight across the corner, because that's what I used to do. And then somebody, and I can't remember, said to do it this way. So I tried it, and you know what? It works. I have no idea why the science behind that, why one way would work better than the other, but it does. And using a different angle, so you make sure you're on a different angle from each side. So it's not a straight line. Last corner. There we go. Right, now I do need something underneath. Well, this, no, that's not really going to be big enough. I'd prefer a plastic sheet, but I don't have anything like that. here we go. Here's a bit of cardboard. This will do. If you hear that weird noise, that's just my moon boot sliding on the vibration board I've got under my desk. As I was spinning around, it just slid on me. Right, so again, I'm grabbing out the the gel medium, and I think I'm going to do the long sides first. Oops, I've got, I think, way too much medium on my palette knife here. And I don't really want to leave all that on the cardboard because I don't want to transfer it to the cover. So I'm just going to grab a wet wipe here, just kind of clean it up as I go. Right, and actually I'll shift it out the way for the folding it up here. Quite thick, this wallpaper, so we'll see how it folds in the center when we go to fold it. I perhaps should have taken a little chink out of the middle, didn't think about it. Too late now, so we're just going to run with it. Just give it a good press. Right, and see why I wasn't so worried about whether the two halves of the file folder were entirely glued properly, because this is going to hold the two pieces together, because we're wrapping right around the edge. Okay, do this edge now. It's kind of almost plasticine-y, this particular medium, and possibly because it's old. I think the person who gave it to me, I think they'd had it for quite a while and weren't using it, so gave it away. It was open, so they had used some, but obviously wasn't something they were using a lot of. And they're not a journal maker, they're an artist. Right. Got some on me, but I managed to not get it on the cardboard. Right, so folding up. Starting in the middle I find is easier, just to get it folded nice and straight. Can't guarantee that it will go straight, but it seems to work better. I've got to tell you what I just ate before I turn this video on. When we were at the hospital yesterday to get my legs seen to, we had morning tea down in the hospital cafe, and they had cinnamon scrolls. Haven't had cinnamon scrolls in like forever, and they just looked really good. So I shouted my husband and I one each. I ate half of mine and it was so delicious, and then I ate the other half this morning for my morning tea. I feel really full now, but it was just so beautifully made. It was had lots of sultanas and a glaze, and it was just so yummy. So yeah, I feel extremely full. Like I can feel it kind of sitting in my tummy. But not in a bad way, just in a like satisfied way. Like, yep, I enjoyed that and I'm full, I'm not hungry. I'm good till lunchtime. I don't normally have morning tea, so it was, quite a treat. Yesterday we needed morning tea because we'd had an early start, and my husband normally would have had a lot of fruit at that time of the day if he was working, but he took the day off because of my appointment. So yeah, so we had the cinnamon scroll and it was just delish. Oops, getting some on my mat now. It's kind of one of those things that you want to clean up while it's still wet, because once it dries, it's It's a lot harder to get off, even, you know, on, or more particularly even on your skin. Oops, that's, what have we done here? It's not going straight. So I will put book corners on this as well. The ones I was going to use, I don't know whether they will work. They might be a bit thin, but I have got thicker ones, so we shall see when we come to that stage. It's got a little bit on the edge there that I feel like needs a little, try not to get too much on my palette knife. It just needs a little extra. It will have paper over top, but just make sure it all sticks together. And don't need the lumpy bits. And a bit on here. Must be where it started drying before I got it down. Right, and my nose needs taking care of. Excuse me one moment. Gee, lately it wouldn't be one of my videos if I didn't have to stop and blow my nose at least once through it. Right, it's looking pretty good. Okay, one more edge to do. This is a Talio brand, just in case anyone's curious. But yeah, I do recommend that if you want to have a go with some matte medium, if you haven't used it before, I do recommend the matte because it's really good. You can seal with it and it's not sticky like Mod Podge can be. So you can use it over top to seal a collage or a whatever, you know, journal card or something, whatever you want to give a protective seal on. You can use it as the glue. It's just awesome stuff. And excellent too if you want to like glue on some metal or trim or something as well. Works really well. Right, I think we're finished with that, I think. Just pop it down beside me in case I need it back. I'm just trying to make sure it's pushed right up against the edge of the file folder. Take care of any excess medium that's popping out. Right, there we go. So this is what it looks like on the other side. So I'm definitely not going to be folding this until it's dry. Like that would just be not a good idea to try and fold it at this stage. Right, now while that's having a little moment, I'm just going to put the lid on so this doesn't dry out. And give my palette knife a wipe as well. We'll be using it again, but just, you know, so it doesn't gunk up and harden. Let's see what we've got to put on the inside. I've got very limited choice here beside me, so whether we find something, well, there are some neutrals. There's a brown, a wood grain, there's a green, or this sort of grey and greyish brown. And I have got gel medium on my fingers, that's annoying me. So let's see what's going to work with this kit. So I'll grab the pages, move that around because I know I'm going to knock it. So no, we're not going pink, not for this journal. There is a little bit of pink in it, but we're not going pink for the inside. So we've got this one, and I feel it's too grey. Yeah, not liking that one for this. Okay. Struggling with where to put things while I do this. So then we've got orange, not feeling the orange. Got pink again. Got this green. But yeah, not totally wrong green, and the pattern is a bit, just doesn't feel quite right. This one's green and pink, but oops, these are starting to fall out of the, we've got pink again. So this one's a possibility. It's quite dark and it's totally different to that, isn't it? At a push, I think that one would work, and it looks like it's my last page of it. So possibly that one. And we've got a pink. This one I'm thinking might be the go. So again, it's a different brown to the wallpaper. But what do we think of that? That's quite nice. I like that. Let's just have a look at what else is in here just to make sure we're happy. We've got some green. Again, it's a different kind of green. Pink and red. No. Pink. A lot of pink in here. Yellow. Yellow might be all right. I'm just going to tear this one out, because I think we're probably going to go with wood grain. But there is yellow in this. Actually, do I like that better? I think I might like that better, actually. Or there's these leaves. Now that I've torn that wood grain one out, I'm going to change my mind, aren't I? So this one's actually quite nice as well. It's a bit busier though, isn't it? Yeah, no, it's a bit busy. Whereas I feel this one has got more interest, but doesn't feel so busy. Okay, I'm going to go this one. And it's the last one of this too. Obviously one I use a bit of. Right, so pop you back in there. So fortunately I found an option, and these other ones I don't feel would have worked. Maybe the green, but the green just wasn't sitting well. It just didn't seem to match very well, and I think similar to the browns just weren't quite the right brown. So I think this yellow is a good option. Okay, so I'm now going to just measure where we want to trim this down. Just looking at how much border I want around of the wallpaper. So I think I'm going to go I'm going to cut one direction first so I can see what I'm doing. And I'm just going to move those things out from underneath the mat that keep moving on me, so I don't have to worry about them. Right, where's my pencil mark? Oh, there it is. I lost it. I should bring it down a bit closer. Oh, I'm having one of those days. My desk is not big enough. Right, so let's pop you there. And I'm just using 12 by 12 scrapbook paper, as you probably realise. But just in case you're new and don't know what scrapbook paper is, it's a scrapbook paper pad I am using. And I didn't tell you the name. I've had it for a few years now, so it may not be available anymore. But it's just a generic sort of one. Not necessarily a themed one. Okay. So now I can put this down. And let's go about there. Okay. All very precise, isn't it? Let's go about there. Just eyeballing everything. It's handmade. It's not perfection, it's just handmade. And handmade's always better, don't you think? I think so. Right, so that's going to sit in there. Awesome. Right, so again for this I'm going to use the gel medium. So I do need my bit of cardboard back because I'm going to use the gel medium to hopefully avoid getting any sort of bubbles or weird wrinkles. Not saying we won't get them, but just trying to minimize that sort of thing. And not folding it until it's dry helps to avoid those sorts of issues as well. Now this time, this will be the last time I need to use this bit of cardboard for doing this, so I'm not going to worry about the overrun onto the cardboard. I'll just let that dry. And it dries clear, in case you're wondering. It's white, but it dries clear. So if you do happen to get some on the cover, it's not the end of the world, but because this is a gloss one as opposed to a matte one, I don't want sort of random glossy patches on the outside of my cover, because I think that'll just look a bit funky, even though there are shiny bits on the cover anyway. But they're part of the design, and so they're in places that suit rather than just a random splodge of gloss gel medium. Whoops. Okay, I think I've got some on the front of this, but I'm not too concerned. Right, and there's no direction to this paper, so I'm just going to pop it down and try and get it where I want it. Oops, up a bit more, I think, slightly. Edge it up. That's looking pretty good. Let's get some of that. Right, going for it. It is going to be here, like it or lump it. Hope it's straight. Okay, I'm going to have to put a bit more around the edges and places. Right, either dried or I didn't get enough on there. So let's go in here. Well, obviously didn't get that edge very well at all, because it wasn't sticking. Right, need to be careful with the wet one because it is just paper on top. Always check the corners, they're a prime place for things to not stick down properly. Okay, that's better along there. Check this corner, yep, put a little bit more on there. Oh, not myself though, don't need it on me. I don't want to stick to anything. Bit along under this edge. And the edges are important because you don't really want those lifting away, because then it's going to look funky. Putting more under there than what I need, but right, get off that excess off my palette knife. Right, so I've got some that gets seeped out there, but it will dry and it will be fine. Just see a little bit under the wallpaper here that needs an extra little bit. Right, I think we're good. Right, so I need to just let that dry. Don't mess with it. I'm telling myself, don't mess with it. Where am I going to pop it? I guess on top of my rubbish bin. Seems to be the go-to place to pop things, and then I want to put rubbish in the rubbish bin and I can't. Right, so I can pop this away now. Pop it back in the drawer. Pop this back in. Sorry, I hope you can't see my big head there. I can. Oops. Yuck. There's water in the bottom of the glass that I put the wet wipe in, and now it's dripping wet. So I'm just going to grab out another one to wipe up some of the medium off my hands. That's what I want to do. Drop that on the floor. Because I can feel it all sticky. Yeah, I've got to develop a few little calluses from wheeling the wheelchair around. I'm sure they won't take long to go once I'm not using the wheelchair anymore. I'm still using it for certain things around home, like if I want a cuppa or something, I need to use it so I can carry the cuppa in a travel mug between my legs, because I certainly can't carry it when I'm on the crutches. So haven't dispensed with the wheelchair entirely, but trying to use, sorry, I was just blowing something off the desk then. You probably wondered what I was doing. I can't remember what I was saying. So I am trying to use the crutches as much as possible, you know, because my leg's not going to get used to walking if I don't walk. Right, let's try and not drop that into the water this time. Okay, so we can pop that back on our... actually, was I going to do anything else? I think that's pretty much the video, because I need to let this dry. And it will need longer, like putting video on pause, probably not an option, because it will need longer than that. So I'll probably leave it for a good half day, maybe even a full day, just to properly dry before I fold it. And so that will be the cover, like so. And then we can look at pockets and decorating up the cover, etc. I'm probably not going to go too heavy in terms of the pockets and things, but we'll see. We'll see what it's looking like in terms of chunk factor, and then how much I want to do, because I love doing decorating and pockets and things. So yeah, we'll just see. We'll see how it goes. Thanks so much for joining me today, guys. I hope this was helpful for you. If you've never worked with wallpaper to make a cover, it really is a super easy and convenient way to do them, but I do recommend investing in some gel medium if you don't have it, because it is really good stuff, a really good glue for fabric, wallpaper, those heavier types of things. So we'll call it a video there, and I shall see you again another day. Have a wonderful day, my friends. Take care, and I'll see you soon. Bye.